As parents, we nurture our kids and try to keep them out of harm's way. But is it possible by protecting our kids too much, we're actually hurting them? Should we let our kids mess up and find their way out of things? Well, here to talk about her new controversial book, The Gift of Failure, is New York Times bestselling author Jessica Lahey. Jessica, your book is already causing a lot of conversation between all of us. Tell us about your background. How did you come to write The Gift of Failure?
Well, I've been a teacher for a really long time, for 17 years, and I just noticed that my students were becoming more and more afraid. They were becoming really tentative. They wanted to be perfect all the time, and then their parents would, rescue them by bringing their homework to school when they left it on the dining room table, and that was sort of contributing to they were afraid to fail. And then I realized I was doing it with my own kids too.
Oh.
I know, it was horrible. I had to give myself a little smack on the face. And,
so what made you write the book?
That realization that the thing I was mad at my students' parents for overparenting, for not allowing them to feel the consequences of their mistakes, I was doing the same thing. And so I really just wrote the book I needed. I needed to know how to back off, how to start backing off and letting them sort of feel those consequences a little bit and learn from them.
Now, I don't have any kids, but I really, I understand this whole concept, but I don't understand why parents don't do it.
I think because everything feels so high stakes right now, because everyone's telling parents, your kid, it's so hard to get into college, and every grade counts, and every point counts, and it's not just in high school, now it's in middle school and elementary school. And so I think they get so worried that one little mistake is going to blow it for them.
Guilty as charged.
And that's just not true.
Guilty as charged.
True.
And there's so much pressure to be a perfect parent, though, and create the perfect kid, that I think we try to help make that kid perfect by helping too much.
And you love them so much, you don't want them to feel the pain. So you try to do something to help them avoid the pain.
Absolutely, and avoiding the pain in that moment may not be the best thing for them in the long run. And the other problem is that other parents look at us and say, oh, you must be a really great parent. Look, your kid is on the honor roll. Look, your kid is on the traveling soccer team. You're a good mom.
And you want that.
And the problem is we're asking our kids to shoulder the burden of whether or not we're good parents, and that's not fair to do to them.
Is that different from other generations?
I think there was a little bit more of a sense of, let me back off, you do your homework, and not that sort of hovering. I know parents that sit there with their child at the table while they do,
Stephanie?
the kids do the homework.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for that.
Everybody, wow.
Yeah, that is how to call out. They need help. They don't know everything. But do you think social media has played into this?
Absolutely.
Because, the mom braggers on social media make the rest of us feel like we obviously aren't doing something right.
Right. Well, that's the problem, too. I mean, there's this pressure to look perfect all the time and look like our children are curated perfectly in every Instagram photo. The other thing is that that pressure, this thing called pressured parents phenomenon that has come up in the research, is really contagious. So when you're sitting on the sideline of the soccer field and you're talking about the cello lessons and talking about the math tutor, the other parents are going, ooh, I don't have cello lessons, I don't do a math tutor, and you get all worked up, and yeah, that's a problem.
Why is it wrong to actually hover that much and not allow the kids to?
The problem is that we're not giving kids the opportunity to say, oh, I left my homework at home. That means I'm going to have a conversation with an adult about how to deal with that. Or I'm going to have to come up with a strategy for how to not let that happen next time. But what ends up happening is parents show up at school right when, for example, me as a middle school teacher or high school teacher, I'm having a conversation with the kids saying, so what's your strategy for next time? And the parent runs in and says, here you go. And the kid says, well, I don't need a strategy for next time.
That's my strategy, call mom.
Exactly.
What's been the reaction to the book?
The reaction has been fantastic. I think a lot of parents feel like something's a little off, especially now. A lot of schools have what's called a parent portal where you can check in all day long as many times as you want and see if your kid has shown up for class on time or if they've done their homework. The problem with that is that controlling kids to that level actually makes them less interested and invested in learning. checking up on our kids, controlling our kids, doing everything for them makes them less interested in the long run in learning.
So we're putting a lot of effort in this. It's not paying off.
We're actually, it's going to backfire. And what happens is the more you reward your kids for grades, the more you control them, watch over them, and say, sweetie, have you finished that homework? Have you finished that homework? It makes the kid push back and resent and say, well, now I'm really not interested.
Gave my 6-year-old grandson $1 for getting all of his spelling words right. Is that
wrong? That's a reward.
I'm going to go, my mother is with me on this wonderful trip to Florida, and I'm going to go the grandparent line and say, grandparents don't count.
Wait, so I get called out and she doesn't count.
It's your responsibility to teach them everything.
Why do you think I feel the pressure?
No, I mean, grandparents have the ability to skirt the rules a tiny bit because you don't have to be there for the fallout later on.
Oh, that's too funny.
You wonder why
I love this book.
Well, for more information on Jessica's book, you can visit her website, jessicalahey.com. You're going to be speaking at 40 Carats tonight.
I am.
It's sold out. You can't go.
Sold out
but
show.
there are lots more events at 40
Absolutely.
Carats. So you can go to 40carats.org to learn about all the other events and to get one of Jessica's books free.
Yay.
Very good. Okay,
Very
I'm going to
exciting.
read up on this because I find I'm doing a lot of these things you said wrong with my grandkids.
There's a lot in there about
There's a lot.
Oh, good, good. Thank you so much,
thank
Jessica.
you.
And when we come back, we're going to talk about our anniversary show and what went on behind the scenes.